Welcome back to Citrus Today. Erin Pagán with us with the American Red Cross, and always interesting to have you in the studio because we talk about things that are very important to people for disasters that we have no crystal ball that tells us you got a fire coming soon. And I say that because this is Fire Safety Month. October, right?
Yes, it is.
And there's a lot of things to keep aware. You might not think you will have a fire. Most folks who have their homes burned down don't believe it would ever happen to them, right?
Exactly, and so it is. October is Fire Safety Month, and so we always stay in close communication with our fire departments, and so you should too. We have, wonderful fire departments right here locally, and so they're a tremendous resource, and they're always going out, to schools and to churches and staying close with our kids and our seniors to always remind them about how to stay fire smart. And so that's what Red Cross wants to do too. It doesn't hurt for everybody to hear about it multiple times so that we always remember the things to stay really fire safety smart. And so Red Cross always provides our checklists. They're available online, and you can print them at home, and you can always go to our website and reach our checklist. We've talked about those before, but also just want to go through a couple of tips, things that people don't always remember. And now that we're starting to get just a bit of cool weather, we always want to remind people if you tend to get cold, and so you're going to start to pull out those the heating blankets,
right,
and you're going to start to pull out the little space heaters because your feet get cold or whatever if it gets a little bit chilly in the evening. Don't have those things close to your drapes. Don't have them too close to a blanket where that fabric is going to get real hot and might spark. Watch for your kids to make sure that the pajamas are the non-flammable material. Be really careful with your dryers. We're seeing lots of dryers that are malfunctioning, and they actually will cause home fires. Lots of dryers cause home fires. So be really careful about where your dryer is positioned in your home, that it's not up too close to a wall or too close to other things around it that might cause a fire, other electrical equipment if it's in a garage. So be really careful, be really smart, and if you don't know what to look for, seek out resources. A little checklist again from Red Cross. Feel free to reach out to your local fire department and say, I really want to make sure my home is safe. What are the things I should be looking for? What should my dryer not be close to? And ask good questions. There are no stupid questions. And if you care about your family, care to ask.
There you go. One of the things with dryers that folks need to be aware of, every so often you have to take loose your vent and
Yes.
clean that out because it collects lint in there, which you subject it to that heat, and that's a good place for a fire to start.
Absolutely, absolutely. The other is checking your smoke detectors. If you don't have smoke detectors, please get one. Even if you need to save up to buy one, and save up to buy another one, save up to buy another one. Everybody's budget conscious. Then if you have them, make sure they're working. They're completely worthless if they're not working, so make sure you're testing them. Making sure that if they are hardwired, make sure that the wiring is working. If they're using batteries, making sure that you're testing them to make sure that they have fresh batteries in them. Lots of people use our time change,
right,
as a good reminder to check your batteries.
Excellent idea.
So that's a really good time, and we're coming up on the spring forward, fall back, and so when we go to our time change here in the fall is a good time to check your batteries. The other is the carbon monoxide alarms, and so to make sure that lots of times people actually are harmed by fire before they even feel heat or see flames because of the smoke inhalation. Lots of people sleep very hard, especially seniors and children, and so they actually asphyxiate because of the smoke that they inhale before they even have a chance to feel heat or see fire burning, because they actually suffocate before they have the ability to run and get out of the house.
Very true.
So a carbon monoxide alarm will actually set that off, wake people up, and give you the opportunity to get out of your home.
Another point, while you mention that fact, we have elderly people who now live by themselves, and always take an opportunity to toss out an idea for you. If you live alone, it's a good idea to have, of course, smoke detectors in place and so forth, but also pets come in very handy at times like this. Whether it's a dog or a cat, they are very aware of what's going on around them. A lot of times, and we hear this quite often, a pet has alerted the homeowner who's sleeping that a fire is blazing long before they wake up. So another reason, if you don't have a pet and you live by yourself, maybe you want to consider that. They're great companions and good warning systems also.
Absolutely. But also with pets, please remember that your human being safety is of the utmost importance, and that when you are alerted by an alarm system, please get out immediately. Running through the house trying to find your pet can actually, it can cause you bodily harm.
Yes.
And so lots of times a pet, like you said, has its own internal alarm system, and it has found a way to get out of the house on its own. And so for you to wait long enough to find a pet can harm yourself. So as long as you've opened up a door and left the door open or a window, that pet will find a way to get out on its own. It's got its own animal instincts.
Right.
So get yourself out and leave that door open, and that pet will get out also, and you'll be able to find it. Lots of times people get out, and then the fire department shows up and finds the animal who's also gotten out as well. The main thing is that you get out of the house. You can replace your home, your belongings. You'll find that pet who's gotten out on its own, but the main thing is that you survive.
Very true. Also have a plan if there's multiple people living in the house. Where are you going to meet outside?
Yes.
Just so that you're all in one location, you know if there's somebody left in the building or not.
Absolutely.
Good point to point out. Well, again, all these prevention measures are on your site, the American Red Cross, so we encourage you to go there. Check out the website. It's got that plus many other great tips for you. We also have a number on screen to call for the Mid-Florida region, and they can give you some great information. We're going to talk a little bit about disaster action teams in the next segment of the program.
Yes.
So stay with us, everybody, as we continue right here on Citrus Today. Welcome back to Citrus Today. Again, Erin Pagán joining us. She represents a Mid-Florida segment of American Red Cross. We talked about Fire Safety Month just a moment ago. We need to talk about disaster action teams. They're very important to American Red Cross and everybody who's caught in a disaster in one kind or another.
They are everything we do. They are the body of Red Cross. They really are, because essentially they are the volunteers who respond to the people affected by disasters. So they are our volunteers who come on board and help us respond to the people who are either affected by a fire or by flooding or by a natural disaster. So the volunteers who come on board and say, Red Cross, I want you to train me to go out and help a family or an individual who needs assistance by Red Cross. And so, there are people who come on who have no training, no background in disaster whatsoever, and they come on, and the first class they take with us is Disaster Services Orientation, where you find out just about Red Cross and how we were founded and what Red Cross does. And then you kind of start to hear about the different areas of Red Cross and where you might be interested. And it might be in becoming a shelter manager when we open a shelter when it's needed, when we have a large group of people who all need a place to go.
Right.
It might be in mass care, where we are looking at feeding people, and sheltering is part of mass care too, but specifically in feeding people and safe food handling. Or it might be in this specific disaster action team, where you become part of a group who are on a schedule, and you tell us your availability based on whether you still work or if you're retired. And you get called so that if somebody is affected by a home fire, you go out and you meet with the family or the individual to say, this is what Red Cross can do for you to help you on the road to recovery. And so you get trained in the paperwork that we need to fill out. You get trained in the financial assistance that we give the families or individuals, and you get to basically be that person, that hero that shows up, that light when somebody has really just lost everything. It's their own personal major disaster. And, you know, a lot of people think Red Cross is just preparing for a huge hurricane, when really every day, and on an average of 3 times a day, we're helping an individual or family with their own major disaster, and that's seeing their home go up in flames. So this is the person that shows up and really gives them hope and, you know, comfort and care and concern, gives them a hug, helps them just sit down for a minute and start to digest what's just happened. And so we train these people to know how to do that. We give them a hotel stay for several nights until they can start to figure out that they're going to go rent a new home or work with their insurance company if they own their home. We give them financial assistance for food, because now they've lost their refrigerator.
They've lost everything, yeah.
The financial assistance for food, for clothing and for shoes. And then all the referrals that they need for long-term recovery, where kind of Red Cross now works with our partners to say, what additional things do you need to be able to keep up normal? So your kids can keep going to school, so you can keep going to work, so you can keep up with life. And so life doesn't have to take a turn for, oh my gosh, what are we going to do?
Very good points. Training is offered for these volunteers, and you're looking for volunteers in our area right now, right?
Absolutely. Local volunteers are the absolute key. We are looking for people in Citrus County to help your neighbors, because that's what's happening. These are local disasters, and we need local folks. So we're going to call and say there's something that's happened right down the street, and we need local volunteers to respond. And we can never have enough, because everybody's got a different schedule, different availability. And so to be able to fill that schedule up so that somebody can always be able to pick up the phone and say, yes, I can be there, it takes a lot of folks. So if you have any level of interest, if you have any time span of availability, we're always looking for